Welcome, Roberto Martínez, to the Matchday -1 press conference. Please raise your hand virtually if you want to ask questions. We start with RTBF again and Manu Jus. Manu, à toi la parole.
Yes. Hello, Roberto. First question, how are your players today? I mean, mentally, after the big disappointment of the game against France, are they ready to play another game tomorrow against Italy?
Well, I feel that 24 hours can make a big difference, and that's how I felt today. The training session went with a good feeling. Probably was a moment to look forward and just prepare the game against Italy. The disappointment was more after the game and probably the day after. We had time to sit down and we analyzed the game, and probably then you got a bit of closure and you look forward, and now we're starting. Probably today was the start of a new cycle, which is the next 12 months preparing for the World Cup. So for us, I can see that everyone is fully focused and know how important tomorrow is in an individual basis, because in November, after the results yesterday between Wales and Czech Republic, we need a point against Estonia to qualify for the World Cup. So it's very important that individually everyone gets a real show of what they can do and be part of the squad for this final step to qualify to a World Cup, and for us as a team to improve and to become better, because you're playing against the European champions.
And what about Romelu Lukaku, who left the camp?
Yes, we had obviously Eden Hazard and Romelu Lukaku in a very similar way. Both, they got overload in the muscles in different areas. And unfortunately, we didn't have the facilities in the camp here to be able to work and the way that we like to work with our medical people. So we had to send them back and release them from camp, and we'll work in Belgium with them to try to get them fully ready for their clubs as soon as we can. But then Thomas Fouquet is a completely different situation. He's been released with an injury in his calf area, and it's an unfortunate moment because he got injured during the warm-up against France. And Thomas has gone back to his club in France to try to get a speedy recovery.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Manu. Frédéric Bleus. Fred?
Hello, Coach. Almost 48 hours after the defeat, what is your analysis of the game, and especially the second half? How do you explain it was so bad?
Well, the analysis, I think you need to go from minute 1 to minute 45, and it's a game where all the work that we've done in 3 years, you could see it on the pitch. I thought that we were very superior. Everything that we tried to do, we executed very well. We limit France to no chances. And we scored 2 goals, and Lloris had an outstanding save in another action. And that's the work that these players have done in the last 3 years at every level, technically and tactically, and almost developing as a group. Second half is completely different. We stopped playing. We never performed in the way that we did in the first half. And it's not down to any change to French approach. It was only that they start pressing a little bit higher, but no tactical different disposition. So it's more our undoing. And that's the area where we came a little bit probably thinking about preserving something, of going to the final. And at that point in football, if you stop having that yard to do the things that you want to do and be on the front foot and be proactive, then probably you don't control your faith as much. Of course, in football, big decisions matter. I don't think the big decisions went in our way either. The small goal disallowed, the small distance in the goal disallowed with Romelu, the penalty, which is an action that is you can speak about it and you can give your view, but there are small margins in decisions. But top and bottom, I think, is a clear example of the first half is all the good work that we've done in the three years, and the second half is that the work that we have to do in the next 12 months to be ready to be able to be successful in a major tournament.
Ok, merci Fred. Yves Teldeman, la dernière heure. Yves?
Are you going to change your whole team tomorrow? And can young players like De Ketelaere and Tayat, for example, hope to be in the starting lineup?
Hi, Yves. Obviously the idea, as I said, now we're starting we came here to try to win the Nations League. We didn't came here for for anything different than that. When you lose the semi-final, we reset ourselves, and now we're starting a period which is 12 months to try to qualify for the World Cup and then be prepared for the World Cup. So that means that we're going to carry on with our way of working that we've done in the last 5 years, and that means preparing players, and when they're ready, give them the opportunity. And that's the only way that we can build. We're not going to go crazy and becoming emotional and try to look for change and stop all the good work that has been done. And I think it's try to go back to the first 45 minutes against France. That's our level, and that's what we have to extend. And when the young players are ready, they will always be given an opportunity, as Jeremy Doku started the game against Italy in the Euros. I will never be afraid of giving young talent opportunity when they're ready, but I will never give a gamble or have a reason to justify a defeat just to play young players or players that they haven't been long enough with the national team. So to answer your question, for tomorrow, there will be changes, of course, because Eden Hazard is not going to be there, Romelu Lukaku is not going to be there, and we're going to assess every player. Every player needs to be 100% in order to perform at the highest level. We're working for, first, to preserve our world ranking #1, and second, to become better. And we're going to play players that I feel they are ready. So it's not a game just to make changes for the sake of it. It's make a competitive group with players that they impressed in training and they feel that they look like ready to start a game.
Yeah. If I can ask one more question about Eden Hazard and Romelu Lukaku, can you reassure their clubs that they are not really injured, that it's just an overload, and that they will be able to play the next game with their club?
It is an overload, but obviously that's more a medical question. You should ask the medical department. At this point, we don't feel they are 100% to play a game tomorrow. I don't know what's going to be the evolution of the players. Overload means that you got soreness in your tissue, that your tissue is not ready to play a game of football. From that to be ready, it will depend when the next game is. It will depend how the players evolve. But what is not is an injury like Thomas Fouquet that unfortunately is going to miss his earlier time with the club.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Yves. Gary Cotterill, Sky. Gary.
I just wanted to get a bit more on Romelu, really. Is it okay with the club that he goes back to your guys in Belgium rather than goes back to Manchester?
No, everything. Obviously, we got really good relationship between the two medical departments, and all we're working is to get the best possible work for the player. This is not an institution like the federation and the club working in different directions. Every decision that is taken is with the two medical departments together for the good of the player, and that's why we decided not to take a risk in the game tomorrow, and that's why Romelu won't be selected.
Thanks.
Thank you. Fabrizio Patania, Italian media.
Sì, pronto? Sì, eccoci. Buonasera, Mister Martinez.
Buonasera, Fabrizio.
Le volevo chiedere cosa cambia. Prima ha detto che vuole fare, provare altri giocatori senza stravolgere l'identità del Belgio, però ovviamente non giocare con Lukaku è diverso per le sue caratteristiche specifiche. Cosa cambierà in attacco? Se ci può dire almeno chi giocherà al posto di Romelu. Grazie.
Yes, well, I'll answer in English. My Italian is very good to understand, but to speak, I'm not ready. I think over the last 5 years that I've been in the national team, what we're trying to create is a way of playing that there are different players that they can come in and adjust to what the team needs. And then that's why we've been consistent enough and we've been able to hold into that #1 ranking because we got a big pool of players. So of course, there is no one player that is exactly the same than the other, and they all have different strengths. But I think the way that the team plays goes a little bit beyond the individuals, and that's what we're going to try to do tomorrow with the players coming in. They should be fitting in the way that we've been playing for the national team.
Okay, grazie. Christoph Franken, La Dernière Heure.
Hi, Roberto. Can you if Belgium lose tomorrow, they can Brazil can go down in the first place on the FIFA ranking. Is it a motivation for the player? Can you use this to motivate the group? It's anecdotic for this group.
No, of course it's important. Remember that we've been 3 years now #1 in the world ranking. That means that every time we go into a camp, that's been in consideration. We had to go and perform in every single stadium around Europe to maintain our #1 status. So that's ingrained in the team, and that's going to be clear there. But I think we got a bigger motivation, which is become better. Against France, we saw that in the first half we can reach a really high level, but in the second half we showed that we're not the finished article yet. So we got a period of 12 months to become better. And the objective tomorrow is to take this game against the European champions in the unique opportunity to test ourselves again and learn from it. And from that point, as a team, it goes into the individuals. Individually, you only 12 months, you're going to be in a position where you need to be selected for a World Cup. So I don't think there is bigger motivation for any player in the national team when he's on the pitch to fight for those objective, which is always maintaining the standards that this team expects, and second, individually, to be part of that squad if we can qualify in November when we play Estonia at home.
Okay, just a second one. Individually, you talk about individually. Can you explain why a so good player as Youri Tielemans in a so bad form is the last months, and especially against France on Thursday?
Well, of course, I think the first half, Youri Tielemans had an exceptional understanding of the game. He was very influential in everything we did. In the second half, I think it's very, very unfair just to highlight one player. I think every single player dropped a percentage in the performance that we had in the first half. When you're on the ball and you don't get the same angles, the passes become harder and you can be the one losing the ball. I think what Youri has done is got this bravery of always, after losing a ball, he wants to show for it and he wants to get it again. But I think it's a conscious of the whole team to make sure that the player on the ball has the options to find easy passes. And I think the performance in the second half, it wasn't down to one player, it was down to our collective approach, and that's where we need to work really, really hard.
Okay. Thanks, Christophe. No more questions so far. Okay, then we stop here. Thanks, Roberto. Thanks all.
Thank you, Stefan.
See you tomorrow at the game. Bye-bye.